Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to unbox another one of Sophie and Toffee's Pixie box, and this one is super shiny. The other ones before that had a matte texture, but this shiny is so pretty. So let's look what's underneath the tissue. And as always, we are first greeted by the info card. And this one has this really simple, nice design. It looks really fresh and spring. And the theme of this box is Ohayo. So I guess Japanese type stuff. And our first item are these shiny little fish embeds. And they come in various colors and they have this really neat rainbow-like effect. We also get some of Sophie and Toffee's mica powders, and we have the color golden yellow and orange red. So very sunny, very warm colors. And this is actually one of the items that interest me the most. This is a metallic marker by Fleicy. I've never really heard of that company before, and I'm excited to see how this marker actually holds up and if it will actually stick onto the resin. Out of curiosity, I already opened it and gave it a little shake and a pump, and the color is actually really pretty. And I'm happy to say it is a fine nib, so you can get some details on. Next up we have some of these really lovely bezels. We have the ones with the paper cranes and the one with the Teru Teru Bozo. I hope I'm saying this right. The next mold we get is this little mold with all of these different sushi items, which I think is really adorable. So we have shells, we have kind of shrimp and stuff. And I think it's just the cutest little mold. And we also get one of these sign thingies. I think I always saw them being hang on shrines. Like they have a site where you can hang these. And I think you write a wish on them or something like that. And we also get this Teru Teru Bozo shaker mold, and it has this tiny Teru Teru Bozo on the left hand side. And it looks super cute. And then we get this, I guess, coaster mold, and this one has a sun and waves, and I love the curvy design. I think the simplicity of it makes it look really cool, and you know, I think as a sun catcher it would even look nice. And then we also get this white glitter, and for some reason it looked color changed to me, since this type of glitter Sophie and Toffee in a previous box provided as color change, but even with UV light it didn't. So I think this is just normal white bluish tinted glitter. And they also get this like transparent holographic type glitter in the form of sakura flowers. And I think they will look really pretty in shakers when they're floating around and you see all of their different colors. And then we have this interesting packet, and to me it looks like a wind chime, you know, with the like thread and the ball that you put inside of the metallic, I don't know what it's called, bell casing thing, and with the paper thing that's supposed to catch the wind. And our last colorant is actually this Mexican red alcohol ink from Sophie and Toffee. And our last three items are first off these really cute geisha charms. And I love the color of them, they look so adorable. And then we have this pretty sticker foil with these sakura flowers in see-through and opaque, and clear foil for shakers. And let's look at the item sheet. So the board is supposed to be a message board, and I was right, the package was supposed to be a wind chime. And apparently we had the chance to get 2 different coaster silica molds, and I'm so happy I got the sun mold because I think the waviness of it looks really cool. Also, an interesting fact about Tero Bozo. You normally, I think, make them before you go on a trip to wish for good weather, and you make them out of tissue and a foam or table tennis ball or something like that, and then you hang it up at the window and hope that the next day the weather will be good. Anyways, let's start crafting. And for this one I actually wanted to try out something that I haven't done in a long time, which is applying acrylic colors to the thing directly to add some details. And I started out with the sign and drew on some wood grain. And I'm going to go over the lines multiple times to get them to be more opaque and not this streaky. But honestly, I think the streakiness really helps the natural wood grain look too, so I'm not all too worried. And next up I decided to shade them with this lighter brown with my pastel chalks, and I'm just using a makeup brush. And I'm happy to announce I finally got a new makeup brush to add all of the details with the pigments in my mold, so hopefully it won't be as messy as the times I had to use a brush. As for the sun mold, I really wanted to make it a kind of sun catcher, so I just add some of this really pretty orangey goldish pigment onto the sun, and then I'm going to add some blue pigment to the waves. For the pouring part, I'm using Sophie and Toffee's 1:1 ratio resin, and for the coaster mold I decided to go with this really pretty orange and this light blue, just colored slightly as to not make it too opaque. Then I made the sakura topper for the wind chime, and I decided to go in with some clear, some light pink, and then use some darker pink around the brim. And lastly I'm going to put a sign with this brown. And after a day they are finally hardened, so we can unmold them. I was so excited to see how the sign would turn out with the acrylic paints, and it actually looks really neat. I think it definitely kind of looks like wood grain, although on some spaces there seems to have been glitter in my mixing cup, so it is a bit shiny, but I don't think it really matters, and the color is actually really embedded in there, like I can't scratch it off at all. And next up I'm going to unmold the sakura flower. I've hoped that the clear part would have stayed a bit more prominent on the inside, and it kind of swirled around a little bit more than I had hoped, but I still think it looks really pretty with how it swirled, so I guess it was a happy little accident on how the resin decided to behave. As for the Suncatcher coaster, I think the colors separated themselves pretty neatly, and it helps that I added the pigment on top inside of the mold, so the resin would have some clearer lines. You can still see it mixing on top of the last waves a little bit close to the sun, but I think this has the really nice effect of the sun lighting up the sea. I also noticed I have a little defect inside of the sun, and I was thinking that maybe I nicked it, but later I found that actually there's a thingy in the mold that they put in there, so it must have been from the start. But honestly, I don't mind. It's not really that prominent and you still can use the mold, so you know, these things happen. I decided I wanted my wind chime to have a clear kind of wind catcher thingy, so I just laminated some laminating foil without anything in it and then cut it to size. And then I just placed on these really beautiful stickers. At first I was trying to overlap them on both sides, but it didn't look that good, so I just replaced them and added some more bits and bobs here and there. And then it's time for the string, and I basically just make a loop for the top with a simple knot, and then for the bottom to fix all of the wind chime parts, I'm just adding a single thread, knotting it on, putting the metallic part on, making sure I put a knot in there that sits at the right height so I can properly fasten it. And afterwards I'm just threading on the little ball and making sure it's the right height. And lastly I'm adding my clear wind catcher thing. And the last thing I wanted to do was just to add some dress to the sign. So I added a tiny teru teru puzzle charm and some weaved, I guess, thread onto it. And this is a basic weave that you normally do with paracord, but I think it fit this project really neatly, and I decided to not fill in the teru teru bezel despite it being an open bezel, because, you know, I thought it would look really cute even without any resin to color it. In all honesty, I really love this box. I think because, you know, normally a Pixie box doesn't really tend to have projects. I think supplying this whole wind chime was a great move and I loved it so much. And it sounds really pretty. I have it hung up in my room, and when the wind comes in, it has this really clear and pretty ring to it. I definitely think all of the items in this box fit the theme, although I also think that you totally could use all of the items to make different things. Like use the sakura, fill in the holes after you put it, and maybe use it as a coaster, just a nice little flower coaster. And the sun and wave coaster is pretty neutral too, or just use the sign with some chalk markers to write some messages or notes and hang it up in your home. So I think these kind of molds and projects are very versatile, and I loved that about this box. And I have to admit, the wind chime is one of my favorite ever projects Sophie and Toffee provided us in any way. It was such a fun thing to make, and it's so lovely. And they provided lots of items to make more wind chimes, so I'm really excited to make some with maybe other molds I have laying around. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. Leave a comment down below and tell me maybe what's your favorite item I made and if you like this box. And I hope you have a really nice day. Bye!